All right, let's get started to the Rockstar Book Club March edition. Today we will be speaking about Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning, which I read back in, I guess, September, October-ish. And then I proceeded to follow The Miracle Morning for 68 days. I committed to doing 30, and when I was about in the 25th day, I didn't feel like I had gotten anything out of it. So then I committed to doing it to year end, which would have taken me probably 75 or 80 days. And on the 68th day, I continued to not feel or not get the impact that the millions of other people that read the book had gotten. So I stopped, and it was a good thing I did because I ended up getting sick and I was in bed for a couple weeks and I couldn't have done it anyway. So 68 days of doing it. So I have a lot of experience with the book and what he calls the Savers system, which we'll talk about. I recently just finished the follow-up to his book called The Miracle Equation. I liked some things that he said in that book. He goes into a little more detail on the affirmations in that book, which I may consider looking into and implementing. He's more of a higher level in The Miracle Morning. So The Miracle Equation, he takes a deeper dive. So let me tell you, if you haven't read the book, his system is an acronym it's called SAVERS, SAVERS. The S stands for silence, so meaning meditation. The A is affirmation. The V is visualization. The E is exercise. The R is reading. And the S is scribe, meaning journaling. And what he recommends is that you get up an hour earlier than you normally would. So if you get up, like normally I would get up at 6:15, get up at 5:15, and do 10 minutes of each of these things in the morning. So 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of affirmation, which is saying out loud, I have signed 10 leases in 90 days, or whatever your affirmation is. Visualization, then being quiet and just visualizing, exercising, reading something productive, and scribing, journaling. So, and he says if you can't do it, do each one 10 minutes. So let's say you have to catch a flight and you have to leave extra early that day. He says, if you can just do 1 minute of each thing for a total of 6 minutes. So anywhere from 1 minute in each of those categories to 10 minutes in each of those categories, which would be an hour. And so, like I said, I started in October, 25 days in, felt I wasn't getting this, aha thing that everyone, online has been talking about. So I then said, okay, I'm going to keep going and go to year end. And then at 68 days, stopped. And, I was confused by why didn't I feel like I got so much out of it? Because if you are a book, we all are book lovers, and we hear people talk about different books and people recommend different books. And, so many people said, gosh, this The Miracle Morning, it changed my life, yada, yada, yada. So I don't know. I think that I'm a pretty optimistic person. So the affirmations and the visualizations, I think I kind of do that all day long in my life. So I don't think that specifically added to my life, because I kind of feel that that's part of my life anyway. Reading, for sure. I read way more than 10 minutes a day. Exercising, I do think that was a positive additive to my life, because even though I work out with a trainer like 3 or 4 times a week, those other 3 days I kind of, would take off. And just by getting up and doing 10 minutes of stretching, or there's an app called the 7-minute workout, so I was doing that even when I was traveling. So I thought that was a good thing, getting up and moving your body every day, not just the 3 or 4 times a week that I had the trainer. I like that. The journaling, I didn't really feel like I got anything out of it. And then the meditation, again, there's something where everyone says, gosh, meditation changed my life. And, when you hear that, how he came to these 6 things, he talks in the book about how he had interviewed, many, 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 many people, many successful people, and asked all of them, what made you successful? And these 6 things were the culmination, the repeats from different people, whether it was Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or Oprah or Tony Robbins, all of these people that he interviewed, it all came down to these 6 things that they believed attributed to, their success. And he feels, okay, well, if all of these super successful people attribute, 1 or 3 or 5 of these things, if we all every day get up an hour earlier and do all of them for 10 minutes, we would all have better success. So I'm curious, I'm going to stop for a second, and I see a bunch of you are on the call. I don't know so my first question is anyone on the call, did you read the book? So that's my first question. And if you did you start putting any of this in practice? More than before you had read the book?
Hi, this is Lindsay. I did read can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I did read the book. I read the one for agents probably at the end of last year, and I did start getting up and doing all of the steps. Quite honestly, I did not enjoy the meditation at all. Honestly, it just kind of made me dizzy. I probably wasn't doing it right, but I didn't enjoy that. But the biggest thing that I got from it, and I will admit I haven't stuck with everything since then of all those steps, but the one thing that I have absolutely stuck with is journaling every day. Before I did that, all the steps, I was journaling maybe once every month, and this has really got me into that, and it means so much to me that even a couple weeks later I can go back and I can read the thoughts that were on my mind. So of all the steps in it, I may not do them in sequential order, and I may not do them on a regular basis, but it's definitely brought journaling into my life, and it's really been great.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I journaled those 68 days, but I don't know where I got this from, but it's kind of like people go, do you look at the videos you do? I never look back. So even though I journaled it, unlike you where you say you went back and looked, I just am always so forward thinking, or not that you're not forward thinking, but I'm always just looking for the next thing, or I'm always just looking to make the next step, that I don't go back and look at my videos. Now I do go back obviously and look at my goals and see where am I at with relation to what I've accomplished and where I need to go. But it's kind of, I'm always thinking of the next step versus evaluating. Now, I do think that, my son right now is doing some journaling for some things that he's going through, and it's really helping him because he's seen sometimes, where we have these limiting beliefs, right, these limiting thoughts. If you go back and read, gosh, a month ago I was saying that I couldn't leave 3 spaces, and now look, I've, trusted the process. I'm doing the prospecting, the canvassing, and now I've leased 2 of the 3. And you can kind of see where the negative and limiting beliefs may hold you back, right?
Definitely, definitely. I've even gone back now that I've started journaling again, and I've looked at journals that I did, in my 20s, and I just can't believe the changes that I've made in the way that I think and how different it is. So for me, that's been really awesome.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you're doing that and that worked, and so you've kept that up. So that's great. Anything else?
Mm-hmm.
With, so the meditation, I think that's the misnomer. Like people go, well, I don't know how to do it, or I'm doing it wrong. I think that, just sitting in silence to gather your thoughts, you're doing it right.
Right.
Maybe for you, like, did you do any meditation app where it was guided?
Yeah, I did do that, and then I found out it was easier for me to, I think in the one that I read, in the meditation for agents, it would say something to the effect of breathe in the word motivation and breathe out the word success, or whatever words you want to do. And for me, even though I've done yoga in the past and I know you're supposed to be in the moment, it was still just very difficult for me to push those other thoughts out of my head.
Oh, for sure. Oh, you can imagine. It's very difficult for me to push thoughts out of my head, but I found that guided meditation was much easier. Where they were talking to me, and I was listening to them, and then I was following, doing what they wanted me to, what they were saying to do. Who's ever rustling papers, please mute your line. So, okay, so that's great. Anyone else on the call that read the book, or even if you didn't read the book, is anyone else on the call subscribed to meditation, affirmation, visualization, or journaling?
Hey, Beth, this is Jeff Dervish. How are you?
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I'm good. I wanted to talk about meditation. I started doing it about a year ago. It's something that I didn't do previous. In the mornings, typically I start my day, and I'll just put in my headphones, and I go to Spotify, and they have a bunch of meditation kind of sounds and noises and things of that nature. And what I'll do is I'll set a timer for 10 minutes. I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I'll just listen to kind of that music, and just breathing and listening to the music, you eventually get into a point where you're just sitting in silence and relaxing and thinking and just letting thoughts kind of flow in and out. And it's been great. And I really enjoy doing that in the morning. And that's been a way that I've had success in doing it. And also after lunch, I try and sit in silence for 5 minutes, do the same thing, just to kind of reset, to start my afternoon, to get back going again, to collect my thoughts. And I do that for 5 minutes after lunch, and those are some tips that I've been working on.
That's great. And what is it adding to your life? Just kind of piece of like collection of the thoughts, or getting ready for the day, or how has it changed your life since you've been doing it for a year?
Just kind of slowing everything down, having a little bit more gratitude and empathy, and kind of just realizing what's important and things of that nature, and just kind of really slowing the game down for you, because we're all moving so fast and at such a rapid pace with so many thoughts in our minds at any given time, that really just a collection of thoughts and to kind of reset to proceed.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
One of the topics that he talks about in the book, which is so true, is he says discipline creates lifestyle. And I do believe during those during those 68 days, those of you that are on my Rockstar Facebook page, I, videoed every day. So every morning I would say, hey, here I am. I'm about to start my miracle morning, no makeup. Most of the time I was still in my pajamas. I think that doing something, whoever's rustling the papers, please put your phone on mute. So I think that the discipline is definitely something that I got out of it, knowing that I was doing something every day, knowing that I was documenting it. I had I don't know, 60 to 70 people checking in each morning to see if that I was doing it. So that was funny. They were my accountability people. And I did feel like I had to do it because I committed to it, and I was being accountable to those people on that closed Facebook group. So, and I do think it's the same thing for me with working out. I don't particularly like working out, but I know, like, when I'm walking out of the working out, I feel really good. So I believe that, when you do things that you don't want to do, it does create discipline. And I do believe that discipline contributes to self-confidence and to your ability to feel like you can do anything, right? So, because, if I blow off a workout, or, when I stopped doing this thing every morning that I had done 68 days in a row, I do feel like there's a hole, like I should do something, that would contribute positively. I just, I don't know what it is yet, but I am looking for that, because I do think that doing something every day that you're committed to at the same time of the day, it does create a discipline. And I think adding discipline to your life is extremely powerful, because I don't know if any of you guys follow Jesse Itzler on Instagram. We're doing his book called Living with the Seal in a few months. So I listened to that book, and he just finished something called the Calendar Club, where he ran the same number of miles per the day of the month. So day 1, he ran 1 mile, and day 29, because it was leap year, he ran 29 miles. And the discipline and the accountability as he was doing this on Instagram was so inspiring. It was so inspiring. It, definitely made me feel like, I'm chump change compared to what he's doing. So I think discipline is just a very, very powerful tool in life. No matter whether it's disciplining with prospecting, canvassing, posting on social media, whatever it is. Anybody besides meditation and journaling, has a routine that is disciplined. It's something you do every day that you feel that has added to your life, and it doesn't have to be one of these 6 things. I like my boys and I go to Mass every Sunday, and one of the things we've been doing since they're little, is on the way to Mass we say, what are the 3 things we're going to pray for? What or who are we going to pray for? 3 things each. And then what are 3 things we're grateful for? So that I started that when they were little, because I knew that they would lose focus on what was going on during the program or during the Mass, and I wanted them to know when their mind starts slipping, that they can go back to, I'm supposed to pray for Grandma, or I need to be grateful that we have food on the table, or I'm grateful that we don't have tornadoes like Nashville. So things like that. And I think even though that's not a daily discipline, I think there are people that have daily gratitude journals. I think gratitude is definitely a discipline or a routine that we should all be. We should be grateful that we don't have the coronavirus, right? So I think that discipline and gratitude are great things to have in our life. So anybody else? I'm going to talk about some other quotes in the book. One of the quotes he says is, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." So I love that, right? So Jeff, you just started your own company, or you merged. You had your own company, and now you merged with Jim.
Yep.
Was there some discomfort when you were deciding to do that and starting with the new thing? And because that's what he's saying, life starts at your level of discomfort.
Not at this point with the merger, but when I first started my own company back in 2014 after leaving Bose, I was 25 years old, and I just graduated from college. When I was 21, I'd worked for Bose for 4 years, and I kind of wanted to go off and start my own practice. And that was a really scary time for me. I think I had $50,000 saved up, and I just kind of took a leap. And the way that I viewed it was, at that point in my life, I was 25, and I thought to myself, I had an opportunity to kind of do this now before I had other liabilities later in life and other obligations, and figured, what's the worst that could happen? I can always go back into the job market. I can always find another job. I felt I was a valuable resource. So I took that leap of faith, and it was one of the best things I'd ever done. So that's a time when I was more so out of my comfort zone than I am now, but definitely.
Yeah, Lindsay, you do things that take you out of your comfort zone? She left us, or she's...
All right, I'm unmuted. I had to unmute. All right. Yeah, I was definitely do things that are out of my comfort zone. I've been posting a lot on social media, which is not something that I'm used to doing, and that has definitely been something that is bringing me a lot of great results. So just putting myself out there and being uncomfortable and being vulnerable, it can pay back.
I mean, 100. I'm developing this property, and let me tell you, I'm definitely out of my comfort zone a lot when I'm dealing with, development and entitlement, and I'm just a leasing agent, really. I do a great job leasing, but development is a whole other thing, and financing and partnerships and the cities and the permitting and it's just crazy. It's out of my comfort zone, but you got to push yourself and do other things so that like he says, life starts at the start. If all you did was do things you're comfortable with, you're never going to progress, right? One of my friends early on when I first started speaking, I said, I've got to do this keynote. It's 6 hours. It's this workshop, and I'm a little nervous. And my friend said, if you're not afraid, you're not growing. That growing starts when you are afraid and you conquer your fear. So I love that. And I always remind her she said that, because now, I speak, a lot, and I'm not afraid anymore. Another quote is in the book, your entire life changes the day that you decide you will no longer accept mediocrity for yourself. And it's pretty powerful, that you can accomplish way more, way more than you think you ever can, that you think you ever could. And that goes back to, the 10X rule. On January 1st, I set a goal for Kara and I that I call it the 1090 goal, that we're going to sign 10 leases in 90 days. Mediocrity would be, 3 leases a quarter. But I said we're going to do 10. And so we're going to have to, match the effort to the goal. We can't do what we did for the last 6 months for the next 3 months, or we'll never make the goal. So we're going to have to triple down. And we've signed 3 leases. We have 6 minus 31, 27 days left, or 25 days left. We have 3 LOIs signed and a bunch of proposals. So I'm not sure if we'll get to I hope we'll get to the 10. I'm still pushing for us to get to the 10. But if, let's say we get 9, boy, that's triple what, a typical 3 a quarter is, right? So, don't settle for mediocrity. Anyone want to speak to that? Anyone set a goal that pushed you beyond what you thought you could do? He goes on in the same page to say, mediocrity has nothing to do with how you compare to other people. It's simply a result of not making the commitment to continuously learn, grow, and improve yourself. So, that's what we're doing. We're in the middle of it, and the pressure is on. But I'm very excited about where we're at. And he talks a lot about the rear view mirror and how important it is. He says one of the saddest things in life is to get to the end and look back in regret, knowing that you could have been, done, and had so much more. That's Gary Vaynerchuk, who you guys know I like a lot, says he says I talk to 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds all the time, and they have so much regret. He says it's heartbreaking. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. So, is anyone on the call wish they would do something but is afraid to and would like our support and our accountability to hold you? Like we had a meeting this morning, our social media group, our think tank group, and one of the guys said, I've been wanting to do a podcast for 6 months and I haven't done it. And I'm like, well, why haven't you done it? And he's like, well, the time, da-da-da. I'm like, that's just BS. You just pick up your iPhone and speak into it and then, put it on Anchor. It's the easiest thing to do in the world. Now, if you want to have a bunch of interviews and you have to interview people, that's really hard because of the scheduling. But if you just, like what I'm doing with the Retail Leasing Playbook podcast, I'm doing a podcast on the chapters in the book. So I can just pick up my phone, push voice record, talk about 2 chapters, and put it out on Anchor, and I've got like 300 or 400 people a week listening to it. So it's super, super easy if, you just want to talk about topics. And he goes, I just really want to talk like 3 or 4 minutes. And it's like, well, you need to just do it. We'll hold you accountable. But he didn't want to commit. So I said, well, the next time we meet in 90 days, because we meet quarterly, are you going to say this is one of my regrets? Again. Anybody on the call want to be brave enough to throw out something that you want to do and you'd like some support? No? Everyone's just rock stars today, which I love. So
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Lindsay. I want to purchase, and I have it written, typed up, hanging on my car and my home and my office. I want to purchase an investment single-family home in 2020 that cash flows on day one.
Awesome.
Yes.
Why single-family home?
Because I don't have a lot of money.
And you think that's the way to get, like, to put your toe in, right?
Exactly. I want to buy 4 little red houses on the Monopoly board, then trade them up for a hotel, just like Monopoly.
We play that game in our house. Mario
I stole that from the cash flow.
Yeah.
I stole that from Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And by 2020. So are you looking at deals now? You got to start looking. Are you looking on the weekend?
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking at deals now, and I have to get a HELOC, and I have that, working on that, and I've been going to real estate meetups and analyzing deals. And, luckily I'm licensed, so that saved me a little money at closing, but it's something, the only real estate I've ever purchased was my own home, so it's quite a scary thing.
Lindsay, you can do it. I have no doubt.
Thank you. Support me, guys.
we will hold you accountable. We're going to ask you
oh, boy.
How many.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's
awesome.
good, because I've only read How to Win Friends and Influence People 3 times, so I'll be on that call too.
Yeah, see, so you don't have to even read it.
Nope.
I thought we would go old school for a change.
Yeah, that's old school. That's the old school.
Right, we're always reading the latest and the greatest. So that was a book that my dad had probably, I don't know, 80 dog ears on, the pages of the book that he just read and reread, and this is before audio. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'll be channeling my dad during that call. And a lot of people, I think, have already read the book, so I'm saving them some time.
Yes.
So he talks about habits a lot, obviously, because, doing the SAVER system is habits. Considering that our habits create our life, there is arguably no single skill that is more important for you to learn and master than controlling your habits. You must identify, implement, and maintain the habits necessary for creating the results that you want in your life, while learning how to let go of any negative habits which are holding you back from achieving your true potential. So as much as I love that, I don't want to give up my habit of Netflix. But that is probably a negative habit. So what I'm trying to do is do a little less of that, and substituting it with more. I'll tell you, that was one of the positives of doing the Miracle Morning. When I was getting up at 5 o'clock, I was absolutely falling asleep at 9 or 9:30 instead of my usual 11 o'clock bedtime. So I definitely was watching significantly less TV or Netflix than, and certainly that is way more productive, right? Whether or not I was getting anything out of the meditation, the affirmations, the visualizations, the reading, and the writing, I was substituting an hour of TV in the nighttime for sleep for positivity in the morning. So 100% that was productive. But I really liked my TV. Bad habit, though. Bad habit. Are you guys there? Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Someone had just tried to call in, and I wanted to make sure I didn't lose you. He's also a huge believer of the whole surround yourself with people in your life, right? Always seek people who add value to your life and bring out the best in you. And of course, be that person for others. Someone else has a quote, the 6 people that you surround yourself with is, you are the sum of those people. And I think it's important to always look around and see who are the 6 people around me, and and how they are. Are they positive? Are they negative? Do they support me? Do they bring me up? Do they bring me down? Very important to kind of audit that. And, you may have a negative person in your life that's a family member, that you're certainly not going to get rid of the family member. But I do think that, I have a girlfriend who's in real estate, Deb Kolsky, and she has a saying that I love. She goes, I don't need to be part of their story. I'm not in their story. Their story is their story, and I'm in my story. So don't put me in your story. So I think that's hilarious, and I love it, because sometimes you get caught up in other people's stories about you, right? So I think it's important a lot of times to audit and say, who am I? And then if you feel like, okay, I don't have someone that's a motivating factor in my life, I need to, I watch Gary Vaynerchuk, you guys know, Grant Cardone. I love Jesse Itzler. He's my new it guy. It's very motivating for me when I'm driving around and listening to these guys, whether on podcasts or, I like the educational piece of listening to the book, but I also like the motivating piece. I mean, if you watch Jesse's Instagram for the last, the 29 days in February, I have never been a runner. I have no desire to be a runner, and I'm telling you, he's got me thinking about running, which is just, crazy to me. So, so think about that. Hal Elrod, our author, also says one of the things, and what Jeff was saying, he says, silence is one of the best ways to immediately reduce stress while increasing your self-awareness and gaining the clarity that will allow you to maintain your focus on your goals, priorities, and what's important for your life each and every day. Silence is one of the best ways to immediately reduce stress while increasing your self-awareness and gaining the clarity that will allow you to maintain your focus. So I think that for some of us that are kind of all over the place, it's just for me, I like to review my goals. Like Damon John said, and Grant Cardone, both of them, they espouse to every morning reading your goals and every night reading your goals. And one of my coaching clients sent me the Michael Hyatt Full Focus Planner, and which I love about that, because I'm a big writer. I like to write things down in notebooks versus, like my goals and stuff, and versus putting it online. And I carry it around with me. And what's so great about the Michael Hyatt Full Focus Planner is you put your annual goals in the beginning of the book, and then it has goal details, and it lists like your key motivators, your next steps, blah, blah, blah. And then every week, there's a part in the planner of where you look back and say, did I do the things I needed to do to reach the goals? And it's constantly bringing you back to your daily activities and connecting you to your goals. And the book is only meant to be a quarterly book. So it's a 90-day book. And I've really, really enjoyed it. I started it this year, January 1st. I got it for Christmas. And I've been really enjoying it because it reminds you at least every week, okay, let me go back and look at my goals for 90 days. And, and I think this has helped with our 1090, the 10 leases in 90 days, because every week I'm looking, how did we do? How many showings did we get? How many proposals do we have out? Did we get any LOI signed this week? There's the famous quote, what doesn't get measured doesn't get improved, or positively, what does get measured gets improved. And I think that's so true. If you are constantly looking at your goals, constantly saying, okay, I want to do the 1090. What do I need to do the 1090? I need to get so many showings per week. Well, I'm short on my showings. What should I do? I should prospect more. Constantly staying focused. What you focus on, you will improve. So I love that planner. And if you're on the phone call or if you hear this in the recording, thank you so much for getting me the book. I love it. And then it's talking still about the people around you. He says, it's often said that misery loves company, but so does mediocrity. Don't let the fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs of others limit what's possible for you. I have a lot of friends who have goals, but they don't have people around them that push them. Josie had a goal, 2 or 3 years ago, that she wanted to buy an RV. I thought personally, I say to her every day, who's going to change the poop thing? I just, don't buy the RV. Why do you want to buy the RV? I'm talking about you. She's looking at me in a glass window. The RV. And so she had a goal, and every vacation, they would rent an RV and go driving around, the Grand Canyon or the Northeast, Poconos or whatever. And every year and every quarter, she had a goal, and she needed to save a certain amount of money, and they would always go to these RV shows and look at RVs, and she had, our small team, we have a team of 6, we did vision boards, and right in the middle of her vision board is the RV, and as much as I was teasing her about the poop thing, I was all about it. What can I do to help you get the RV? I want you to get the RV. Let's do this, let's do that, let's try, how can I help you get the RV? I was pushing her, and I think there were people in her life that were not, that kind of thought the idea, I thought the idea was silly as a joke because of the poop thing, but I really wanted her, it was clear every vacation they did the RV thing. this is going to be the future of her life. She wants to retire and travel the country in an RV. So about 3 weeks ago, I'm very excited to announce that they bought the RV, and she's she's so happy, and she's going to take it on her first trip in a couple weeks, and they're going to do a month this summer in the RV. And so it's so important that you have people around you. When I said I'm going to write a book, a lot of people said, what are you going to write a book for? You don't make any money writing books. And I'm like, well, it's not about writing money. In fact, I was just at an event Tuesday night where I moderated a panel, and a friend of mine in the industry who's very, very successful, came up to me and said, what's the deal? Like, are you a teacher now, or, are you doing deals? It definitely was kind of a jab. And, you just don't need people in your life that are not going to be supportive and that aren't going to promote you, and support you and encourage you. And when you have those people around you that don't do that, you need to look for some others, even if they're online, right? Even if they're online people, because maybe there isn't someone in your sphere in your community, then look for motivation elsewhere. We went to, my sister and I and one of my good friends went to the Oprah event down here in South Florida back in January. It was phenomenal. We did a meditation. Literally, it was the BB&T Center. There were 20,000 people there, and they did, I don't know, it was like a 5-minute meditation where no one of those 20,000 people, you could have heard a pin drop. But she talked about, weight loss and meditation and moving your body and setting goals and being positive, and, we should all have those kind of events in our lives and people that we can follow and help us, stay motivated. I'm going to stop for a second if anyone wants to jump in. Another one of his quotes is, your first thought in the morning is usually the last thought you had before you went to bed. How about that? So I like to do I always do my I try to every night at 11 o'clock before I turn off my light, I put in my Outlook calendar the 3 important things I want to get done the next day. Not the urgent things, because I know I'll get the urgent things done, but the 3 important things. And I put them in my calendar so that when I wake up the next morning at 8 o'clock, there are the 3 things that call my attention to it. So I don't want to wait till I get in my office, because usually if I'm taking Mario to the bus and then going to work out or, driving the properties, I can do a lot. A lot of times what we do as leasing agents is, like I had to call Bell's today. I'm trying to do a deal with Bell's. So I knew I had to call the broker for Bell's, and that was an important thing, and I could have easily forgotten to do it. So I like to do that. So that kind of goes with what he says. I wake up thinking, okay, these are the 3 important things I need to do today. I need to make sure that I fit them in my schedule and get them done. Anybody other than Jeff and Lindsay want to jump in, even if you have not read the book, on any of the topics we're talking about or any other questions? We've got about 7 minutes left, and I would love to hear from any of you. He talks about being responsible. The moment you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life is the same moment you claim your power to change anything in your life. However, the crucial distinction is to realize that taking responsibility is not the same thing as accepting blame, while blame determines who is at fault for something. Responsibility determines who is committed to improving a situation. It rarely matters who's at fault. All that matters is that you are committed to improving your situation. So, a year and a half ago, I could not lease one of my properties. It had been a whole year. We hadn't signed a lease. And I realized that even though it was 100% my responsibility to lease it, I realized that I needed to hold myself accountable, and it wasn't happening, and I needed to claim the power to change it, which meant I outsourced the leasing. The leasing queen outsources the leasing on one of her properties. How does that look? So I had to put my ego in my pocket and say, it's not happening, it's not working, and I need to bring someone in who might have a different viewpoint. And I hired Mike Mogerman. He did one deal very quickly, about a month in. That tenant, which signed over a year ago, still not open, crazy. And then a whole year goes by with nothing. So we brainstormed. We had a brainstorm meeting about a month ago, and we just were brainstorming, and I came up with, what if we did, I just need traffic, because I think it's momentum building. And, the Indian restaurant's not open yet. It's looking like they might not be open for another 3 months. What can we do to build traffic? We tried to do a couple temp deals. They didn't really drive the traffic. I said, what if I just gave free rent until 2021? And Mike's looking at me like, really? I'm like, well, think about it. Let's say it takes a few weeks to get a lease signed, 30 days to do plans, 2 months to get a permit, 2 months to do work. It's October already. He's like, yeah. I go, but don't you think that will garner some interesting attention? So we did that. I started going back to the 400 people I Facebooked between December and January. I went back and started saying free rent till 2021. Our showings picked up. We signed a lease in 7 days with a kitchen design store, which I wanted a kitchen design use there because I have a lighting store there. And right now we're working on 3 different proposals, none of which, actually he just showed space today. So the person he showed space to today, it knows about the free rent. The other 3 are nationals and don't know about it. And obviously we're not offering it. So it's just crucial, taking accountability and responsibility and claiming the power to change something in your life that's not working. So, okay, and he also says about reading, which, that's certainly one of my passions. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body and prayer is to the soul. We become the books we read. So I love that. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body, and prayer is to the soul. I know so many people that are addicted to exercise and don't read. So many. And I would just love for them to just listen to this podcast, this book club. You don't have to read, right? Just come on the book club and listen to us talk about the book. And the real purpose of every goal you set is to become the type of person who can consistently set and achieve significant goals. And then the last quote before we give some announcements. Don't place unnecessary limitations on what you want for your life. Think bigger than you've ever allowed yourself to think up to this point. Get clear on what you truly want. Condition yourself to the belief that it's possible by focusing on and affirming it every day. And then consistently move in the direction of your vision until it becomes your reality. There is nothing to fear because you cannot fail. Only learn, grow, and become better than you've ever been before. So if you haven't read the book, and it's very easy. It's a very quick and easy read. And I listened to the audio and read it, and then I listened to the Miracle Equation audio. So I do recommend it, especially if those are 6 areas that you would like to improve in your life and improve discipline. So go ahead and read that. And then just some announcements before we close out, which I always like to close out at 12:20. Our next book club, as Lindsay said, the selection is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, Going Old School. It's on April 17th. Some other announcements. On April 1st, we're opening up the class, our online class. We had our first class the last couple months. Lindsay, you're a student in the class. Do you want to share anything about the class?
Yes. Yes, I'm here. So I finished the class. It was really great because the very first assignment was to do a market study. And while I have read all the best books in the past about doing a market study, I kind of just halfway did it and wasn't really finishing it. And once I was doing the course, I had the obligation and I had that accountability I had to do to finish the market study. And it was just amazing, the response I got from it and all the opportunities it opened up to me, to the point where now I'm ready to start my next one this weekend. So be ready for that Margate market study, everybody.
Woohoo! Awesome. So April 1st, we're opening the class up again. There's at Azor Academy, you can sign up to get the announcement. On April 2nd, I'm sure I'll see many of you at Retail Live. I think that's going to blow up because there is rumors that Vegas will be getting canceled. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this coronavirus, but Shock Chalk got canceled. ICSC just canceled Monterey. There's rumors that it might, that the national retailers are suspending all business travel for the near future. So if the retailers don't go to Vegas, many other companies are not going to go. So April 2nd in Orlando, Retail Live, as Stacy told me, she has over 60 retailers signed up. And she said in the last week, 15 more have signed up. So I think for us in Florida or in the Southeast, that could be our Vegas for the year. And then on April 16th is my Rockstar to Superstar workshop, which is an all-day workshop where we do the classroom for 4 hours, and then we hit the streets canvassing in the afternoon. So thanks so much for being on the call, and I'll see you next month, April 17th, for How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. Thanks, you guys.